Hello and welcome to the Lorinda Buckingham podcast. I am your host, Lorinda Buckingham. It's time to come in, ladies. Well, this month we're starting off with our new season, and we're going to kick this season off with a brand new series. It's for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So, the month of April is used for SAM, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, to bring awareness to the widespread issues of sexual assault, rape, incest that goes on in the United States and globally. Now, just let me give you a couple of facts about it. Sexual Assault Awareness Month started in 2001 to bring awareness to assault and abuse. Unfortunately, only about 12% of child sexual assault cases go reported. So these cases go unreported, they go untalked about. A lot of people experience shame. They don't want to talk about it with other people. They have a tendency to keep it to themselves. People experience sexual assault in families, with peers, and also even in religious institutions, they have it everywhere. And so this can happen with anyone. So there's no shame and no judgment if you experience that. So I want to ask you a question. Have you or someone you know experienced sexual assault before? If you have, leave us a comment. Have you ever experienced that before? Have you ever had that happen to you? If not, that's great because I mean you have prevention, you have protection and avoidance. So that's great. You don't have to go through these things in order to participate in the conversation. Sometimes it's just good to know about it because you never know who come into the hair shop. You never know who's walking to the gym. You never know who you may talk to. And you say, you know what? I heard some information on this podcast that was really helpful. Let me go ahead and try to help you out. One of the things we're going to talk about in this series is one of my favorite characters, a really great character in the Bible named Dinah. Dinah is one of Jacob's 13 children. Jacob, whose name later turns to Israel, he's the forefather of the tribes of Israel. And many times people focus on the boys, they focus on the fact he had 12 boys, but people have a tendency to forget that he had a daughter named Dinah. And his daughter was his one and only daughter. This is one. And he had this daughter with his first wife, Leah. And Leah had six boys. Then she had the girl. So there was big hopes for her. She was only the one and only daughter, but unfortunately, she experienced sexual assault. She experienced a sexual assault with this guy that came from a different camp, and she was out to visit with some friends, and he saw her and he decided to sexually assault her. And so this story is very interesting because it has a lot of twists in it. And we're going to dig into that as we go through these series. So I really wanted to encourage you to stick around because it may be very interesting because you may find that you have a lot in common with this character, Dinah. Well, also, let me jump back into Sam to talk about more about that. But Sam is more than a month. So when we talk about these things, even though we're talking about it this month and we're kind of going into it, it's more than a month. It's a continual conversation. It doesn't mean that we're just going to talk about it this month and not talk about it again. But we're going to talk about things that empower us. We're going to get education to help us to grow and to heal and to have restoration. So I want to ask you this other question. Do you have any area where you're stuck in? If you had this happen, if you experienced this or know anyone, are you stuck? Or do you have any areas that you have an issue with? Let me know. Leave a comment. Maybe we'll make a video about it. Maybe we'll do a show on it. And maybe other people have the same question. So this is to bring awareness. The number one thing for me is always prevention. I'm always prevention, prevention, prevention. And I talk a lot about prevention, not from a place of blaming the victim or blaming myself or blaming someone else. I talk about prevention because I believe that it's difficult to heal. Healing is not as easy as it may sound. Healing sometimes can be hard. Trying to break trauma bonds and dealing with narcissistic abuse or dealing with soul ties. It's a little bit difficult, but it's doable. All is not lost. If you have an issue, you experience the issue, all is not lost. You could be healed. You could be set free. You could be delivered. You could move on. You could get married. You could have relationships. I see so many times women are stuck in relationships, so they're stuck thinking that God doesn't love them or this guy didn't love them, so they let men use them. You don't have to let men use you. You don't have to let men take advantage of your body, and definitely you don't have to take your own life if you're out there. If you feel that you need to take your own life, I want to encourage you to contact a medical professional. Contact a medical professional because you want to make sure that you get the help that you deserve because you deserve to be here. You got things you got to do. You have things that you need to accomplish. Maybe abuse have caused a level of addiction to alcohol or drugs or different things of that nature. We'll talk about that too. And so if you have any questions about that, make sure you leave them as well. But the thing is that it's these things that we talk about is from the place of wholeness and being whole. So all is not lost if you've gone through those things. You can get married, you can have children, if that's in the plan for you, if that's what God has for you. Someone can see a future in you. You're not measured by what you've gone through. That doesn't define you. Sometimes people in life they try to define you by one incident or something that happened. We've all had personal failure. I had personal failure. I'll tell you straight up. By the time we get done with this season, all the other seasons, y'all gonna know all my business. Y'all gonna know all my business. That's just how I roll. I'm an open book. But I'm gonna tell you my failures. I'm gonna tell you where I fell short. I'm gonna tell you the truth because the truth will set you free. The truth will get you delivered. The truth will help you get to the other side. I work with coaching clients all the time. I help women get to the other side of narcissistic abuse, of trauma, of getting healed to make sure that they get healed and they can stay healed. They can be maintained there. And so I understand the importance of getting to the other side and the importance of knowing that the other side exists. Sometimes it's just knowing that the other side exists. Like, is there something on the other side of depression? Yes, sis. Is there healing? Yes, sis. You can have healing, you can have restoration. There is something on the other side of this. So you don't have to be stuck there. So I want to make sure that you're encouraged to know that no matter what you got going on, no matter what it is, you can be healed, you can be delivered. Also, what I want to talk about is rape and seduction. Rape and seduction actually happen to women too. So sometimes we don't really think about the fact that seduction plays a role. And some people call it grooming, conditioning, seduction. Those things happen to try to control, manipulate the individual. It also creates a situation where good feelings are released and feeling good is released, but those things are there to control you, to confuse rape and confuse love. And love does not come with abuse, right? Sometimes you can find yourself loving your abuser. You can find yourself loving your abuser, and people, and then you wonder why people won't believe you or believe anything because it sounds like, what are you talking about? How can you possibly be abused in a relationship that you participate in? Stick around because we're going to talk about Dinah. We're going to talk about Dinah. We're going to dig deep into this because there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun about being in relationships that are toxic. There was toxic relationships in the Bible. And so we're going to go into that a little bit more. And so manipulation, seduction, different things of that nature can happen with both men and women. Also, we're going to talk about underreporting. I want to go a little bit more into that. Underreporting is unfortunately something that happens quite often, even in the Black community. The Black community often underreports, and many times when things are underreported, is being either underreported or it's being incorrectly reported. It's being reported as if it's something that the person wanted to do or not take it seriously or is buried, or sometimes people are more on the side of the perpetrator than they are on the side of the victim. Sometimes people underreport these things because of fear, because of stigma, of course, not being believed, also community backlash. Sometimes people come from different backgrounds, religious backgrounds, economic backgrounds, where they just bury it. They just bury the situation and just move on. Is that true? Is that something that you may have to have done in your life, to bury it, to act like nothing has happened? And the thing that I've noticed is that when we bury these things, they come back up. We bury it, it comes back up. And sometimes it come up in our health, it comes up in our relationships, it comes up in weight gain, it comes up in all types of things. Our health, it comes up in many different ways. So we have to make a decision to address it. Let me think. Let me see what else we have here. Oh, it says 1 in 4 Black women are raped in a lifetime. This is the last statistic I have. 1 in 4 Black women in America are raped in their lifetime, in a lifetime. It says Black women are 13% of the population, but 40% of the women that are in sex trafficking. Out of all the women that are arrested, 51% of prostitute arrests are Black women, Black girls. But we're only 13%. We're only 13% of the population. so, the thing is, and what I wanted to show and prove with that, in how it's underreported or incorrectly reported, is that the women, especially women of color, they're typically criminalized instead of being understood. We're usually criminalized for different things. People brush under the rug, or they're ready to lock them up. They're not trying to understand anything. So here we're going to talk about this a little bit more, because we need to make sure we understand. I gave those extra statistics about Black women because issues in the Black community and things that affect Black women also affect me personally, and I'm also concerned about those things too. So I want to make sure that if people out there are listening and they're watching, that they also take a look into that, because that is a problem for us, right? We need to make sure that we're reaching out and reach across the aisle, making sure we love on girls. We let them know that we care. We try to believe them, and we extend that to them, because we want them to know they got a different option. They have a different path, that there's other things that they could do. We want to crack down on sex traffickers, sex trafficking. We want to be able to look out for that. We don't want our girls going down a path that's not for them. That's not their path. That's not the path that they have. That's not what they were called to be. They weren't called to go into prostitution and sex trafficking. They're more than that. They have goals, they have dreams, they have more than that to offer. And I believe that as women, we can empower that. Some of you may work in social work areas. You may work as educators. You may come across kids and students that are impacted by this on a daily basis, and your help, your assistance, your knowledge can help guide them into a better area. They may be lost right now, but you can guide them into a better area. Maybe you are a person that experienced that yourself. Maybe you felt that way. Maybe you felt that way in the relationship that you were in, that you felt disrespected. You felt that you weren't respected. You weren't heard. You know, the thing is that sometimes you can feel as if you're being treated a certain way, as if you're in a sex trafficking situation, even if you're not really in that where it's being used with money, but you could be in that type of situation with a person. Right? You could be in that situation with a person. So you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing and whatever it is that you overcoming, that you're overcoming the total picture, the holistic thing, everything. You taking it from the root all the way up. And so as we go through these next few podcasts and go through this series, we're going to talk about more about rape and what it does and how it affects us, and what does it do when someone disrespects you to the point to where you may feel as though you're in prostitution, or maybe you feel as though you're less than, feel as though you're a piece of meat, feel as though you're disrespected. And we have to talk about that, because that's not easy to talk about. It's not easy to share. It's not easy to go into, but we must do it, because those are the things that help us to grow. So I just want to leave you with those things. And also, make sure you check into the resources. Let me give you some of these resources. The National Black Women's Justice Institute and RAINN, RAINN, are some of the resources that I use for this particular podcast, and many more. It'll be in the podcast description. So again, I just want to encourage you all for this month. This is the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We're going to go into detail about it, but this was started by Sam in 2001, and I think it's a great month to really talk about these things, to be aware as women all over the country, all over the world. And I want to invite you to have this conversation with me. So again, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you join Patreon, make sure you join the community because we want you in the community. I'm going to give some bonus tips and tools and resources inside of your tiers, inside of your tiers and your teams, so that way you can continue to grow. And again, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you have any other things that you want to follow us and like us on, you can. Again, this is about your freedom. This is about your faith. This is about your success. This is about you. This is about you going to the next level. So make sure you leave me with any type of comments or anything at all. I might make a video. I might even have a show. So just let me know what it is that you would like to talk about. But I wanted you to know that you can do this. You can definitely go beyond trauma. You could be better than ever, better than you were before your trauma, better than you were before anything happened to you, better than you were before you even knew that this even happened to you, before you even could realize it. There was a plan that was set up in place for you to grow, to excel, and to do more. So, again, here's to your freedom, your balance, and your faith for success. Everybody, take care. Take care. Bye bye.